Warning, this video may contain scenes of extreme untidiness. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the Dirty Shop. We're coming up on the meat time of the year. That is Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I don't have a smoker anymore, so I thought that I would make one. And I want to make it as simple as possible and as cheap as possible and still actually work. So that would be nice, obviously. So I've got a few things to make this. I've got some really good beer from Amador Brewing Company, one of my favorite breweries. Obviously not necessary, but really helpful when you're doing a project like this. It's good beer. And to build this, I'm going to use this 20-gallon trash can. I bought this new down at the hardware store for 25 bucks, but you can use a metal cabinet or a 55-gallon drum or a wooden box probably. I wouldn't use anything made out of plywood because it's glued together, and the plywood's glued together, and so that could leak into your meat, but any metal can would probably work pretty well. For my heat source, I've got this old Sunbeam electric frying pan that my mom had stashed in the cupboard, but I've seen these down at the thrift store. I think I got one for my wedding at one point, and they're just everywhere. And so I'm going to use that for my heat source and my smoking tray. You're going to need some sort of a metal bowl for your drip pan and to hold some water so you can moisten your meat a little bit. And this one's a little bit big for my can, but something of this nature will do good. And obviously some wood chips to work your to smoke with. That's some maple scrap from one of my projects. And then you'll need some sort of a grill. Probably a round grill off of a barbecue would work pretty good on this. And I'm sure that there'll be some other unsundry items that I'll need to build this project. First thing we're going to do with this is we're going to test if this tray will smoke my chips adequately for this to work, because otherwise there's no point, and you probably won't even see this video if it doesn't. So you can just assume right now that it does. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this tray, we're going to plug it in. The light's on, shows that it's working, and it's getting hot, so that's a good sign. And I'm going to put my wood chips in there, right in the middle, and I'm just going to let that sit for a bit, and we'll see whether it gets a good smoke off of that. I've had this running for a little bit now. I've been slowly turning up in the heat until I get this to smoke the way I want it to. And then I'm just, because this knob here, where it's supposed to have temperature indicators, which are usually inaccurate anyways, is totally blank. It's just all worn off and gone. So I've just been slowly turning it up until I get some smoke off of my wood chips. So it is working, and I don't know if you can see that, but that was a good bit of smoke come off. And I think this will work pretty good for my smoker. So I'm going to move on, let this cool off, get it set up on my can. So here it is, smoker done with the lid. I could put vents in this lid so that I could open it up and let the air flow through, let some smoke flow through, but I think I'll just be able to put it on there at an angle because this lid's a little bit tight. It doesn't go on and off very easily. So I'm just going to be able to put it on like that. If I need to seal it all the way up, I can just push it on. So the pan goes on the bottom. I cut a hole in the bottom so the pan goes right there. If you want to change your chips, you can just pick this up, throw some chips in there, put this back on it. Inside here I've got this crossbar and I made some hooks so I can hang stuff on them. You could use a piece of rebar for this, nice and easy. And on this bar I put a little notch. You can see that, but the notch catches on this other side. So I put it in and the notch catches so it doesn't fall out. I've got a couple grills in here that I just kind of hacked into place. Just old grills. Got this old aluminum tray that I think I'm going to use for my drip tray and water. And then I've got another grill here. And now you can see in there, I just put bolts in from the side and the grills sit on the bolts. These longer bolts here I probably have to change. I think they're too long, but this grill was a little bit small, so I had to put longer bolts in for it to sit on there. So when I get a better grill maybe, then I'll have something different in there. But the smoker's done now, gotta go test it. Okay, now is time to test this, and it's early in the morning, like 8 o'clock or something, not super early because I'm kind of lazy on the weekends. And you could tell that by my disheveled look, which is actually normal, and my outrageous pajama pants, which I'm still wearing, that I made myself. I did do a video on that one, but gotta have outrageous pajama pants if you're gonna wear pajama pants at all. So I'm starting early in the morning because this is not gonna be a super hot smoker. It's gonna be a little bit of a slow, almost a cold smoker, but I do hope that it will get up to the temperature that it needs in order to fully cook the meat. And I won't have to finish it in the oven, but I may end up just smoking it for a while and then finishing in the oven depending on how long it takes. So I've got some friends coming over for dinner tonight. We're hoping to have this 7-pound brisket. So, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So I'm going to start big and hope for the best. We're going to get this set up and have a go. I've got the pan already going, so this is warm in here already. And I'm going to put I made these wood chips, which are maple and manzanita. And manzanita is one of my favorite things to smoke with, so it grows everywhere around here, and I've done it quite a few times. I'm going to put a bunch of those in my pan. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but let's turn this down. Oh yeah, you can. Good. All right, and then put that on top. That. I've got my drip tray here, and I cut up an apple and I put it in the drip tray, and I'm going to use preheated water so I don't have to try and heat the water up with the meat because I've already got that big old chunk of meat. Put that in there. There. You're going to want a meat thermometer. I've got an electric one, but those are kind of expensive and I can't find it. So I've got my regular one here. And some grills on there. Put my brisket in there. Go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Might be a lot to get that to cook today, but we'll see. So we're gonna let this go for a bit. I don't know if you guys can see in the camera. There you go. Big brisket in the pan, and we're ready to go. We'll see how long this takes. I'm gonna set the clock timing off right now. Sweet. Well, my first attempt failed. That electric frying pan I have is just not hot enough to heat up this trash can, which is kind of a big heat sink. And I knew this was potentially a problem. It's cold outside today, despite the fact that I'm wearing a t-shirt, and it's not able to get this up to heat. If it was summertime and it was 100 degrees out here, this would be fine. But as it is, it's not getting up to heat. So I found this other pan, backups, I found this old electric kind of barbecue thing, and I took the grill off of it because I didn't need that. And I put this old frying pan inside of it and put my wood chips in that right on the burner. So hopefully there's no heat adjustment on this, so this could be a potential problem if it gets too hot. But we're gonna put this on here and try it. If not, I'll just have to oven finish it and go back to the drawing board. It is much less stable than my electric frying pan version was. That one was nice and stable. This was a little more rocky, but hopefully it'll hold up and I'll be good to go. So we're gonna give this some time. Let's see how hot it gets. Hopefully we'll have a brisket at the end of the day. Well, this is not getting as hot as I'd like, but it's certainly getting smoky now, which is awesome. The other one was just barely smoking and it was not acceptable. But now I've got good smoke. I don't know if you can see that, but it's thoroughly smoky. This might be more of a cold smoker. I'm gonna let this sit in here for a couple hours, and then tonight I'm just gonna have to finish in the oven, and I'll have to come back and revisit this to see if I can figure out a way to get the temperature up, or it might just be a cold smoker, which is pretty sweet too. Well, as it turns out, I just can't get this hot enough to cook my brisket. It would take like a week, which would probably still be pretty good, but I'm gonna take it out and finish it in the oven because it got plenty of smoke. So it's gonna still taste nice and smoked. We're gonna finish it in the oven so we can have it tonight for dinner because it's 3 o'clock. It's been going since about 11, and so obviously not enough time. But the wood chips that I had in there have burned off, so the smoke's basically gone. But my temperature in here, the can itself has not passed about 140 the whole time, which is what I want the internal part of the meat to get to, and it would take forever. So I'll take out this beautiful hunk of meat. And I'm gonna go cook that in the oven now. Okay, crew, we've tested this out and it did not get hot enough to cook my meat. It may be a smaller piece of meat and we would have done okay, but even still, the internal temperature of this never exceeded about 140. And that's like rare beef temperature, okay? If you wanted to cook like a chicken or a turkey or an aardvark or something like that, you would definitely have, I don't suggest aardvark. If you want to cook something else, it might not work good. Pork, anything, it's just not going to get hot enough. So we have to figure out a way to make this hotter. So there's two ways to do that. You either add more heat or you add insulation. I'm trying to keep this as cheap as possible, so I'm going to try and add insulation. My brother-in-law had a great idea. He said you could buy a second trash can, a 30-gallon one, because this is a 20-gallon one. This one would fit inside the 30-gallon can, and you could put some insulation around the outside, and it would make a good setup. So that would probably work really well, but I'm trying to keep this cheap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up in cardboard and see if that will hold the temperature for us up to closer to that 200-degree mark, which is where I'd kind of like it to be to actually cook something in this kind of a slow smoking type of way. So I'm going to wrap it up with cardboard and tape it on there, and then we're going to give it another test. Well, my temperature is going up slow. It's been about an hour and a half, I think, and the temperature in here is past the 140 mark, so obviously the insulation on the exterior helped. It's not going to be a very hot smoker with this arrangement with the frying pan set up or anything like that, but it will make a great cold smoker, and you could put whatever meat you want in there and smoke it for a while and then move it over and finish it in your oven, which is done a lot in smokers anyways. So, you know, I had a different goal when I started out here, but I'm going to call this a success just by changing my goals and say that I was building a cold smoker. So, you know, if at first you don't succeed, set lower standards. Not really, but actually it does work really nicely as a cold smoker, and I think I'm just going to preserve it as that and do that, and maybe later on I'll build a better box for it or find a better heat source. But until the next time, thank you for watching The Dirty Shop. Hit that subscribe button maybe.